Fantastic.
Hello and welcome to Confessions of a Yarn Addict. I think this is episode 53. My name is Anniken. I live in the southwest of England and I teach knitting workshops and I design knitting patterns and have a website where I sell a little bit of yarn. I also teach online courses as well, and you can find details, everything I'm going to talk about today, all the links to my sites, all the links to everything else I'm going to talk about in the description box below this video. If you're new to my channel or if you're a returning viewer, thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate you giving me some of your time. I hope you enjoyed this video. I post videos every Friday on YouTube. It's a combination of tutorials, yarn and knitting product reviews, and these podcast episodes. I'm thinking maybe over the summer I might try and post, as well as my every Friday video, I might try and do a video every other Tuesday. I would really like to get to the point where I can post a Friday video and a Tuesday video. I don't know if I can do that at the moment. It's quite a lot of work, so might be an extra video coming up. So today I'm going to talk about what's on my needles, some stuff I've finished, what's in designs I've got in magazines at the moment, bit about my holiday and a few other things. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing, and I'd love it if you'd leave me a comment. So we came back from Spain 2 days ago. Today is Friday. What's the date? 24th of June. We came back from Spain 2 days ago. 2 weeks in Spain at my parents' lovely flat in the Alicante province. And we had a fantastic time. Probably one of my last trips to that area because my parents have sold their flat. They're not handing it over for a few months yet, so maybe I'll be able to get down there for one more week. But it felt a little bit sad leaving because we've had so many fantastic family holidays there. My parents have owned the flat for probably about 20 years or maybe a bit longer. And our first holiday there was 19 years ago when my youngest daughter was 5 years old and she learned to swim in the swimming pool on the complex, and she's now 24. So it feels like an end of an era, quite sad a little bit, but I understand why my parents are selling it. And it's their flat, so it's their decision. But we've had some fantastic holidays there, and I'm going to share a little bit with you during this video. I also went for a week in May, so there are also some clips that I shared in that video, so I will link that below. And I was also there in March, so if I can find that video, I might try and see if I can link that one as well. I've been to Spain quite a few times in the last year because it's been an easy way of being able to see my parents without flying to Norway. So we had a fantastic time. I came home to a couple of magazines that arrived, some samples I got returned from magazines. I send samples off to magazines and they get photographed, and then eventually they get sent back to me. And two of the samples that came back are in a magazine that's out at the moment, so I'll talk about that next. So yeah, the new issue of Knitting magazine is in the shops in the UK now. It came out while I was away, so I'm not sure how long it's been in the shops. And also, I'm also filming this a few days before it's going to go, possibly a week before it's going to go on the on YouTube. I'm not quite sure yet. So this is issue 232. It's called Independence Day. It's kind of like a independent yarn dyer, independent yarn businesses issue. I think independent yarn businesses was the kind of theme for this issue. And I have 2 patterns in this issue, which I'm really excited about. There are some amazing patterns in here. I have 2 patterns to show you the photos of one of them. I'll show you the actual, and that's the other one. I'll show you the actual proper photos in a minute, and then I'll show you the samples, because the samples came back as well. There are some really fabulous accessories, shawls. So it's a tutorial on pockets, which I'm going to have a look at, because I don't do a lot of pockets, and I always tend to use the same technique when I do pockets. A couple of men's designs. What are they? They are, and some cushion and a bag, cushion cover and a bag. Hang on, yes. Some very summery designs. Oh, very summery designs. And some socks. Something a little bit brighter. And here we go. Here is my double spread. So these are my 2 designs in this issue. I'll show you both of them in a minute. That's the sweater is Lottie Knits Little Bird Sock, and I actually had a yarn review video on that design, which I've posted today when I'm filming this. So I will link to that below this video and at the end of this video. And I show you the design in a bit more detail, and I also tell you what I think about the yarn. So that's that one. And then I got this shawl as well, which is Botanical Yarns Merino Sock. And it is a beautiful shawl, and I will show you that in a minute as well. So that's, I'll just look through the rest of the magazine. Another shawl. This shawl I love. This rainbow shawl. I'm assuming that's because it is Pride this month, I don't know. It's called Rainbow Curve, and it's by Brian Smith. Beautiful colours. Another summer top there, and another summer top. There's a yarn review, there is a book reviews, there is an article, relationship status, single and knitting. I haven't had time to read that yet because I've just come back from holiday. And then there's also a State of Independence. It's one-off hand-dyed yarns are a thing of beauty, but what will you actually do with them? So it's an article by Christine, the editor, I think, yes, about independent yarns and that kind of thing. So that's be really interesting to read, because I think a lot of knitters are a little bit unsure about, when we say indie yarn, we tend to mainly talk about hand-dyed yarns, and they tend to be more expensive, so buying several skeins for a bigger project might be not affordable for a lot of people. So you tend to buy single skeins maybe. They all tend to be a lot of, because they're hand-dyed, you can't guarantee the consistency and the colour from one skein to the next, depending on how the dyer is dyeing the yarn. So it can be a little bit more tricky. So it's quite interesting that they've done an article about it. And there's also an article with River Knits, who's another indie dyed yarn company. And then there's some like news pages and different things. Oh, that's cool. There's a little bit at the front here. There's a little small section about Lottie from Lottie Knits, Charlotte Wolford, who runs Lottie Knits, and that's my top. So I'm glad that she's got a special mention. That's really cool. Yeah, so it's a fabulous issue. That's what it looks like. It's issue 232, and it is in the shops in the UK now. And now I'll show you my designs from that magazine in person, so you can see them for real. Okay, so these samples came back when I was away. I like the fact that Knitting Magazine actually send the samples back to the designer just before the issue is about to come out. So if we want to talk about it, we actually got the sample. Again, I wish this would fit me, but it doesn't because I'm not a size 10. But anyway, this is the design. I should have probably put it on my dress form, but it's knitted in the round from the bottom up. So there are no side seams or anything. The body is in this really interesting, really nice lacy rib. And then you pick up stitches around the armholes, and the sleeves are knitted from the top down. And I do have tutorials on that, so I might link that below if I remember. But yeah, really nice top. It's knitted in Lottie Knits Little Bird sock. It took, this is size 10, and it took about 2.5 skeins, just over 2 skeins, no, just over 3 skeins, like 3 skeins and about 20 grams or something. I'll show you what I've done with that leftover, about 85 grams from that 4th skein that I didn't use. So it's, I mean, that's the thing with 4-ply yarn, you can get quite a lot of yarn for your money, so it's not necessarily huge amounts. It is a slightly sort of larger size, the sizing is slightly larger, I think. But yeah, I really like it. It's really nice, and I wish it fitted me. But so I will link to the video that I posted today, last week, today, when I'm filming this, and you can see that as well. And the other design, which I haven't done a video on because when I sent it off, I just didn't have time, but that's this beautiful wrap, which was knitted by one of my sample knitters. It is knitted kind of on the bias, so kind of diagonally, so like that. So the cast on edge was down here, the bottom, and then it's knitted as a large diagonal bias knit shawl. It is beautiful. I really like it. You can wear it as a scarf. Hang on. You can wear it just as a scarf if you want to, or you can wrap it around as a shawl. Let me show you the photograph again. So that's what it looks like photographed, because they clearly do a better job of showing it off than I do. Yarn is beautiful. It's a really nice yarn to knit with. I actually found this on my table where I put my camera. So this is the swatch I knitted for this design. Which way up? Let's go that way. So that's the swatch I knitted for this design. Which is still lying around here. I can get rid of that swatch now. I don't really need it. But yeah, really pleased with it. It's an honor to be able to have 2 designs in this issue. Really excited. Let me just fold this up and put it away properly, so it doesn't get crazy. So yeah, I'm really pleased with it. Really happy. Love that. So that's issue 232 of Knitting Magazine, which is in the shops in the UK now. I would get it quickly if you want to get it, because I don't know how much longer it's in the shops for, because it came up while I was on holiday. So probably by the time this is on YouTube, it'll probably be about 2 weeks since it was out in the shops. So if you want to get it, I would go and get it quickly. Also, a little bit of a quick mention. I'm not going to talk about this very long because I don't think it's in the shops anymore. While I was away, I noticed that there was a new issue of Let's Knit magazine out, and it was the July issue, and I knew that in the June issue I had a design. So I don't think this is in the shops in the UK anymore, but you can probably get it from their website. I always find the magazine websites difficult to navigate, so if you just Google Let's Knit, I'm sure you can find it. I'm just trying to find my design. I did post a YouTube video while I was away as a tutorial for the stitch pattern in my design. Ah, there we go. Finally find it. So this is a very lightweight summer top. You can also wear it in the winter and layer it over like long sleeve t-shirts and things. I think that'll look quite nice. It's got this quite open stitch pattern. Just wondering if I still have this swatch here. No, I don't. Yes, I was just looking to see if I still have the swatch here, because I've got a board on my wall over there where I have loads of swatches, but it's not pinned up there, I don't think. But I did do a tutorial which was posted a week or two ago, I think, a few weeks ago, which shows how to work this stitch pattern. And I'll link to that below. And it's a kind of crisscross stitch pattern, which I really like, and I've used it quite a few times in quite a few designs. And in this design I actually kind of offset it. So let me see if you can see it there. So I'm really excited about that. Really pretty top. Something that I would wear if I was the right size for it. I would actually knit that for myself if I had time. And it is knitted in, let's see, Cascade Yarns Ultra Pima Cotton DK. So it knits up quite quickly. The good thing when you do these cross stitches, crisscross stitches, once they kind of go over 2 rows. So when you do the second row to kind of complete them, you suddenly add about that much to your knitting. So it feels like you're knitting quite quickly. Okay, so I can't find the number on this, but I will see if I can find out what number it is and link it below. But that's what it looks like, and that's my design. I don't think that magazine is in the shops anymore, but I'm sure you can get it from the Let's Knit website. So I will see if I can find a link. If not, just Google it, and I'm sure you'll be able to find it. So I cast on for a new project when I left for this trip. Last weekend I spent a lot of time swatching different brioche designs, and I couldn't make up my mind, and then I decided on the pattern that I really liked, and I hadn't finished the swatch when we left home, so I typed up the pattern as I thought I would want it, and then we were basically traveling Tuesday night. We got to the airport about 2 in the morning, so between 2 and 5:30 I was knitting swatches for this design. I had typed up the chart. It's quite a big chart, but I hadn't worked out all the maths and the exact details. So there's a lot of scribbling 3 in the morning while I was having breakfast. I cast on for the design. I ripped out my original swatch because I wanted to make sure I had all the yarn for this design. So it's kind of in 2 halves. This is the first half, and it's starting to show. I'm halfway through the pattern repeat, so I've done about 13 rows, and it's starting to show the pattern now. That's the second half. I originally cast on at the airport at about 3 in the morning on Wednesday, after working up my tension and scribbling some notes and things on the back of my pattern. And then when we got here on Wednesday evening, when I was sitting down to knit, I actually changed my mind, so I ripped it all out again and started again, which led to more scribbling and a very messy looking pattern. But I'm happier with this version of it. And yeah, it's looking good. My brioche project is progressing really well. I took it to the beach with me yesterday, and I knitted from probably about there to there yesterday. Not all of it on the beach, probably till just past the first repeat. So where this lifeline is, that pink thread, that's the end of the first repeat. And I put the lifeline in because I wasn't sure about the transition from the first repeat to the second repeat. There's a couple of rows that I thought I might have to take out, so I put the lifeline in just till I was sure. And I'm quite happy with how it's looking now. So I'm going to take the lifeline out. Obviously this will be, you get a bit of this kind of texture, this thing going on, but that will smooth it up when I've blocked it. I'm really happy with it so far. This is my first brioche design, so I think that's pretty good. Sitting on the balcony this morning, just had breakfast. It is 22, 23 degrees, I think. And just going to go and get ready to head off to the beach. So the main project I worked on while I was away was my brioche pattern. This is my first brioche design, knitted quite a bit of brioche on and off for the last few years, 3 years maybe. I started kind of at the start of the pandemic. I sort of made a concentrated effort to get my head around brioche. I dabbled in it a bit before that, but I hadn't really fallen in love with it. I wasn't that keen on it. I kept being asked if I could teach it, and I kept saying no, because I didn't feel like I was enough of an expert in it. And then at the start of the pandemic, I kind of thought, right, let's get my head around brioche and let's really figure out whether I like this, whether I want to teach it, whether I want to develop it or not. So especially at the start of the pandemic, I did quite a lot of brioche knitting. And then I got very busy designing for magazines, and it kind of fell off the wagon a bit. And I had loads of ideas in my head, but I never got around to actually doing anything with them. And I taught my first brioche workshop the day before we left for Spain, which was interesting. It's not an easy class to teach. It's not too bad, but it takes a while for you to kind of see how knitters react to new techniques. And I learned a lot from teaching that workshop. So I need to rejig things a little bit for my autumn workshops, but I am due to teach brioche quite a few times in the autumn. And I also thought, right, I need to really design something in brioche. And I was thinking about it before we went to Spain in May, but I never had enough time to actually sit down and work on something. And the same thing happened this time. I was so busy before we left for Spain that I really struggled to get time to actually get some headspace to actually work on a new design. So I managed to chart out a few stitch patterns, and I started knitting a swatch. And because there's been chaos at the airports in the UK for the last couple of months, I guess, last month, we had a really early flight, like 6 in the morning. So we arrived at the airport at about 2 in the morning, which was a bit crazy, but it meant there was no queues. We got through security probably about 2:30 because the security was actually closed when we got there. And then I was sitting in the pub there knitting, finished the swatch, did some rough measurements and calculations, cast on for my shawl, decided it was too wide, so I ripped it out on holiday and cast on again. And I'm really happy with it. I've got quite far. So so with brioche knitting, both sides are really, there isn't really such a thing as a right side and wrong side, but this is kind of the right side, the main side. So I've knitted quite a bit. I haven't weighed the yarn, so I don't know how much I've got left. I'm probably about 2/3, maybe close to 3/4 of the way through. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. It's kind of 2 halves. So it's got a different stitch pattern here and a different one here, and I reversed the colours because I thought that was quite interesting. And that's the other side. So normally on holiday, I just take socks to knit on the beach because it's hot and I don't want a big project in my lap, and I don't want to necessarily get sand and sweat and sun cream and stuff on certain projects. But on this holiday, I did actually, because this project was quite small to start with and I really want to make some progress on it. So I did take it with me to the beach for the first probably nearly a week. I knitted on it on the beach and by the pool quite a bit, and when we were in the flat I knitted on it quite a bit, and I made quite a lot of progress. I kind of had hoped I might finish it, but I didn't think I would, but I'm hoping I would. So I really want to finish this now, but I do have a deadline project that I have to finish first. So I really like it. I'm enjoying it, and I would like to try and finish it in the next week or so, but I don't know how realistic that is. It is in my Botanical Yarns project bag, which I'll just fold it over and do it up and I'll show you properly. I think I maybe shared this in last podcast episode or a recent one, but really pretty bag. I did get a little bit dirty. I need to See if I can just spot clean that, because I don't know about putting the whole thing in the washing machine. But really nice project bag. It's about the right size for this project. I probably need to move it into bigger project bags soon. Really enjoying this brush project, and I want to get it finished, but I do have a few other things that I need to finish first. Socks on holiday. These are, I've actually lost the label. They are Black Stag yarn and fibre. I will link it below. It's their basic sock yarn. I think, I can't remember, it's 75% merino, 25% nylon, or 80% merino, 20% nylon, but it's something like that. And it's in the colorway Jelly Top Pop, I think. You may remember from previous episode that I knitted this sock when I was in Wales in April for Wonderwall, and I lost the first sock I knitted. So I finished the second one and I cannot find the first sock, and this is the same yarn but a different colorway. So I'm hoping when I pack for my next show, which is the Summer Wool show at the end of July, that I will find that missing sock. I'm hoping it's somewhere in my show stuff and I'll find it, but that's why I was very keen to knit this sock. I love this colorway. It is beautiful pink speckled colorway with a bit of violet in it. Absolutely fabulous. I knitted this from the top down using my Crème Brulee sock pattern. The Crème Brulee is my basic cuff down, top down sock pattern, and it includes a bit of information that's useful for new sock knitters, and it's the sock pattern that I use for my basic sock workshop. Now the pattern is written with a choice of either a regular 2x2 rib or stocking stitch, but I actually did a garter rib, so I don't know whether you can see it, but the purl columns it's actually garter stitch. So one round I would do a knit 2, purl 2, rib. The next round I would just knit a round. So every other round was a plain round. It's got a heel flap and a gusset and a grafted toe. So I have this morning, the morning I'm filming this, I've uploaded my Crème Brulee pattern to Payhip. I realized it was only on Ravelry, so it's now available on Ravelry and Payhip, and I will link that below. And this pattern actually the pattern comes in 2 versions. So if you buy the pattern, you can download 2 versions. One version is knitted in using magic loop, which means you use a long circular needle, and the other version you use double pointed needles. I use magic loop, but I do know some people still prefer to use double pointed needles, so I've included both, and the pattern do include some information, extra information that might help you if you're new to sock knitting. So I will link that pattern below. Yeah, really pleased with them. They look fabulous and I'm very, very happy. So in time for flying home, I cast on for another pair of socks. So you remember I was saying that I knitted this in Little Bird's sock from Lottie Knits, but I had one full skein left and one skein that I think was about 80 or 85 grams. So I decided, because that partial skein was already wound into a ball, I just grabbed that. I was very busy before we went away and I didn't have time to wind a new ball of yarn, and I didn't want to take one that I had to hand wind while I was on holiday. So I had this one sitting on the shelf behind me, so I just grabbed it and thought that'll be enough for a pair of socks. I'll take that if I need a second sock project. And I finished the bright pink socks, these ones, a couple of days before we left for home. So I cast on for these socks and I didn't get very far. I probably got about that far. These are knitted from the toe up, and I probably got about there when we were at the airport. And I knitted quite a lot at the airport because we got there really early, because Spanish airports also have problems with queues at the moment, just like we do here in the UK. Not quite as bad, but they do still have problems. So we were at the airport for quite a long time. Probably got there like 3.5, maybe 4 hours before our flight. So I knitted quite a lot in these socks. I knit from the toe up. I have finished a gusset. Gusset always looks a bit strange on toe up socks. And I'm actually halfway through the heel turn at the moment, which is why I'm kind of stopped in the middle of a needle, which I don't normally do. I forgot to, it's a while since I've knitted this sock pattern, and I forgot to take proper measurements before we got on the flight. So I did some calculations on the flight, and I think I worked out that I started increasing for the gusset in the right place. But I want to finish the heel turn and then just try it on just to make sure it fits my foot, because it's a while since I've knitted this pattern. And this pattern is my Crème caramel pattern, which is my basic toe up sock pattern. And again, it includes a little bit of extra info if you are new to sock knitting. It uses the Turkish cast on, and to give a closed toe cast on, which is, in my opinion, the best cast on for toe up socks because it's so easy. And it's the one I teach in my workshops. And yeah, it has a gusset and heel flap, so it looks almost exactly like this, but it's knitted from the toe up. So, and I haven't knitted these two patterns for a long time, because lately I've mainly been doing socks with afterthought heels. I haven't knitted these for quite a long time, so it's quite exciting to be knitting these old patterns again. And I'll link that one below as well. It's available on Ravelry. Just chuck my sock bag on the floor. The Crème Brulee and Crème Caramel patterns are available on Ravelry and on Payhip, and I will link those below for you. So I hope you enjoyed today's video and a little bit of a clip from Spain, a few beaches, some of my favourite beaches, a bit of me knitting. I'm going to finish this video with a clip from, apologies by the way if you can hear glass breaking, it is some recycling being collected. I'm going to finish this video with a slightly longer clip from the island of Tabarca, which is just off the coast of Alicante, so south of Alicante, between Alicante and Santa Pola. You can see the island from both Alicante and Santa Pola. We got the boat from Alicante. No, we didn't. We got the boat from Santa Pola. A lot of the coastal towns in this area, Alicante region, south of Alicante, have boat trips to Tabarca. And Santa Pola is probably one of the busiest ports because it's the closest one, and you walk along there and there's like a row of huts where they sell tickets for the Tabarca Island boats, and they're quite aggressive sailors. So we went on the fastest boat because we don't really, I'm a little bit prone to seasickness, so we decided to go on the fastest boat. They all cost the same, €10 per person return. And you could stay for as long as you wanted. So we got the Tabarca water taxi, which took about 10-15 minutes, and it was quite good fun. And we spent a day, we were there from probably like 10:30 till about 4 o'clock. It was very, very hot. The island is, there's a small village on one end of the island, and then the rest of the island, probably 2/3, 3/4 of the island is like a just wildlife nature area, and there is a main beach next to the village there, where there's loads of restaurants and stuff. I must say the beaches weren't that great. Swimming there was fantastic. The water is gorgeous, but the beaches were quite disappointing. So we walked around the island and it was so hot. And then we had a cool drink to cool us down a bit. And then we went and found a beach that wasn't too busy. But it was very stony, so getting in and out of the water was quite difficult. So if you do holiday in that area and you want to go for a trip to Tobago, I highly recommend it. We really enjoyed it, but do bring some shoes that you can wear in the water, because where we went, getting in and out of the water was really, really difficult. But it's something I wanted to do probably for the whole time we've been holidaying in this area, which is 19 years. I never considered it when the kids were little because I was worried it was going to cost too much for the 4 of us. And then when we started holidaying without the kids, I really fancied doing it, but we just never got around to it. Mainly because we tend to holiday in the summer and it's very, very hot, and I was worried it was going to be too hot. So this time I said to my husband, right, I want to do this because we haven't done this and it's something I really want to do. So I will leave you with that clip. So I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Sorry it's a bit of a long one this week. I try to keep the videos to like half an hour, 40 minutes, but I think this one might be a bit longer. But I hope you've enjoyed it. Please give the video a thumbs up, as I said, and please subscribe if you haven't already, and please leave me a comment. Tell me if you tend to take your knitting on holiday with you, and what would you like to take on holiday, and would you knit on the beach? Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.